Hello, welcome to the Climate Blue podcast match preview ahead of Aston Villa's big game against Brighton this weekend, where one win could secure a Champions League finish and a top four spot for Aston Villa if results go their way elsewhere. Spurs versus Liverpool are kicking off after us. We'll do a bit of permutations chat in a little bit, John, I'm sure. How are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You look very cozy in that jacket.
Yeah, I've always said this, but my room or my office is always very, very cold. I think the windows let in all of the cold, but yeah, so I'm snug in this at the moment. And then when I leave this room, I will just be wearing a shirt, so it's a strange one. But yeah, I'm doing all right, thanks, Dan. Obviously, a strange night last night, a bit of a shock to the system, really. Yeah, disappointing, frustrating, whatever you want to call it, but Villa are still in the tie, so I'm not too downbeat. It's just frustrating how we couldn't get that one goal back. Go in there with 2 goals to score just to get the game level. Yeah, it's an uphill task, but something that we can overcome. Just you want to be going there with a lead, a 2-goal lead, let alone a draw, and then losing by 2 goals, not ideal at all. But what can you do?
Yeah, we spoke on the preview that we did, and I asked you something like, do you see a scenario where Villa don't go into the second leg with a lead? And we both said no, we thought we'd win. We were pretty confident that we'd win by a couple of goals.
Yeah.
Can't remember our score predictions specifically, sorry. I think I said 3-1 possibly. I expected to win. I expected to have at least a 2-goal cushion going into next week. And I'm not alone in that. I've seen comments in the post-match show that we did last night that we were arrogant and we were cocky and we didn't respect Olympiacos and all this kind of stuff. On the flip side of that, when I got to Villa Park, there was a guy who sits near me who said, felt all right about this game until I watched the preview you did with the with Stephen, the Greek football expert, and made out like they're Real Madrid. And now I'm concerned. And I was thinking, well, he's going to big up his own team. Come to Villa Park and scored 4 goals and been good on the night. We've been poor on the night. The referee was poor, which we spoke about all this last night. But these things happen, don't they? This is cup football. This is knockout football. Those things all transpire against us, and all of a sudden you're going from the favourites of the tournament. You should go on to win this, to being not out of it going into the second leg, but going there with a massive task.
Yeah, massive. And we were right to be the favourites, and I think we'll win in Olympiacos. It just depends by how many goals. And again, I'm not underplaying it. That was just a night full of mistakes. I don't think Olympiacos were the best team to play at Villa Park. I don't think they were better than Lille, if I'm being totally honest. We just made really bad errors. That's not taking anything away from Olympiacos, but we get caught out. Cash didn't bump up when he was supposed to, so El Kabi was onside. Longley makes a mistake. A deflected goal, which these things happen, but I think Olsen probably should have saved it, or Martinez would have. What else did we do wrong? It was a night of mistakes and errors, and
give away a penalty.
We gave away a penalty. Yeah, of course, that's the biggest one. We literally gave them a helping hand.
Yeah, literally.
We scored twice, and we had probably double the amount of shots on target. These aren't excuses. Villa have to back up. We've always said this. Villa have to back up that they're the favourites, but an Unai Emery team in Europe doesn't lose a game 4-2 unless themselves are making those errors, and they've had a very bad game. I don't think a team gets outplayed completely if they're coached by Unai Emery. And Lille was a tough ask, but we overcame it, didn't we? And we've now got to go to Greece and pull off what looks like a bit of an improbable comeback, but this is a situation that Emery's been in before. He's been 2 goals down in the European tie and came back to continue in the Europa League back in 2014. He lost to Betis at home 2-0, and then they went to Betis and then won 2-0. Sevilla did. Won on penalties, then go and win the Europa League. So it's been done before. Emery in his post-match was quite I don't know what the right word is, maybe not animated, but quite stoked up for answering the questions, because I think he probably wanted to get a few points across and kind of lay down that this isn't over, like it's half time. Villa, put it a different way, Villa could have been 2-0 down at half time without Watkins' goal, but there was still a feeling of like, okay, this is such a long way to go yet. Do you know what I mean? But I think, and I listened to what you were saying last night with Matt on the post match, but the manner of us losing, we can see 4 bad goals to concede. Yes, fair play to Olympiacos. They dominated parts of the game and they played some good football, but I still think we're much better than them. And I think we'll go there, and if we play well, we'll win. and then can we get another goal, and then it's extra time. We have the best goalkeeper in the world to save penalties. So I think a lot of negatives can be said because we were at home and we expected to win, and it was a shock to the system. But I think we're still like, we're not out of it by any stretch at all. If we can score the first goal, the game is there for us. We've got the momentum. Yes, thinking about winning 3-1 or winning 2-0 or 4-2 or whatever sounds like a big task. But that isn't the game, is it? Olympiacos they're more than aware, obviously, that they're 2 goals ahead. We know we're going to have to go there and play with freedom, play to score goals. We'll make chances, and I think we'll score at least once. So, yeah, we'll just see what happens, but we can't make the same mistakes again. And I don't think we will. We've always said that Villa never played bad twice, which hopefully means we can beat Brighton. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'm not being negative about it. Firstly, because this team doesn't deserve that, because they've put us in the position where we can watch Villa in a European semi-final for the first time in 42 years. All of that stuff, like even the Luiz bits, kind of dragging on now, I'm aware. But he got a lot of stick. But without his contributions this season, we might not even be here in terms of where we are now and in the league. So I really can't subscribe to the notion that, Villa are doing this, or we haven't been good for weeks. Or this is what happens to teams. Look at Tottenham. They're now 7 points behind us. They are in a bad run of form. That's what it looks like. It's losing 3-4 games in a row. For Villa, it's dropping points at home. It rarely happens anyway. So, yeah. Last night was just a big frustration, and it came at the worst possible time. But we've had problems, we've had injuries, we've had all this stuff go against us. So, and we've been saying all along, Villa have done so well without certain players. But then when things don't go quite for us, we can't then say, what's this? Why are the players not playing well? Well, we've already given the reason why, because we've played odd games. There's going to be a game or a couple of games in a season, i.e. United or Newcastle or Olympiacos, or even Forest at the start of the season was an unlikely result. It's like 4 or 5 games there that Villa will look back on and think, we could have done better there. But this is what we've still achieved this season. So, yeah, it's not over anyway, but just kind of wanted to relay my thoughts of why I'm not frustrating, but I'm not angry about it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair analysis of it. And we kind of have to move on and forget about it now as fans and players will, they'll have to compartmentalise it and move on. And I'm sure Emery will prepare them for Brighton in the best possible way. And they won't be quite thinking about the second leg now. It's similar to the Lille kind of hangover, but the reverse, that when we won that game on penalties and we were all buzzing and we felt like, just talk about this for a few days. Like, let's just keep living off this excitement. We'll go to the Bournemouth game at home and we'll celebrate Lille. Kind of forget Bournemouth. It's almost the reverse of that now. We've got to go into Brighton and go, the Olympiacos thing's done. We've got to play the second leg. That's next week. Let's just kind of forget about it for now. And I don't mean that as in forget about it and excuse a bad performance. I mean, just it doesn't matter for now. It's all about Brighton this weekend, and I'm sure Emery and the lads will be banged up for it, knowing that if they win and Spurs lose in the afternoon kickoff, it's top 4 done. And mathematical done, confirmed Champions League next year. Like, I think Emery said something in his presser today, and we'll kind of go all over the place here about we've got the possibility of completing our first target or something like that, as in like the priority this season was Champions League qualification. That's target number 1, and we could do that this Sunday, which would be massive. And even if we win and Spurs don't win, but they pick up a point against Liverpool, it's all but done. They've then got to go unbeaten in the final 3, winning 2. I think I would say that's not going to happen. If we win, we're in a very, very good position, and it might not be mathematical this weekend, but it probably will next. And that's a good position to be in. Well, a brilliant position to be in, obviously.
Yeah, precisely. And I think it helps that Villa are going into that game knowing that they could actually achieve something on the night, and that win, as you say, Dan, we can talk about Tottenham if they don't win, but Villa do, then they get it. But Villa know, and the players will know because they study the league table as much as we do. 3 points goes. That is it. Even if Tottenham were to beat Liverpool, if we won, well then Tottenham still haven't gained points on us. So if we can just win that game, we can all kind of breathe easily. And huge amount of pressure then on Tottenham playing against Liverpool, even though Liverpool don't have a whole lot to play for themselves. I don't really think that matters because it's their penultimate home game before they play Wolves, I think, on the final day. So we can pile on the pressure. The Brighton game itself we'll speak about in a minute, but it's just a huge opportunity, as you say. But also I think, you know, us going into that Bournemouth game previously, we fed off the home crowd, but also we knew that it was such an important game, and this winner would take us so many points out of Tottenham, and it would pile the pressure on. It's the same thing again, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier for the players to switch on to that match, knowing that, all right, we can kind of, as you say, decompartmentalize that defeat against Olympiacos and just concentrate on this match, because we know that this can kind of, I don't say make up for the 2 goals we are now down against them, but it goes some way to lifting the mood and confidence. There's some quotes that will come out from Douglas Luiz at 10:30. Basically, is saying that we have a big opportunity to actually boost our confidence, and would be going into that Olympiacos game if we had won, and if Tottenham were to draw, as you say, we'll be in a massively beneficial position in that Champions League race then if we were to win. But that would also give Villa a big boost going into the Olympiacos game, knowing that, okay, well, our season could be done in a few days in terms of the league. We've just got to give everything now to this Thursday night in Athens and see what we can do. It would be a memorable night if we were to do it. And I was thinking the other day, last night, not the other day, like everything that we achieved in Lille in terms of the celebrations and the memories that we have from it, Martinez, etc. You don't want that just to disappear, because it will feel like that for me anyway. Well, I don't know about anyone else, but it won't have the same feeling and emotion with it, because it'll be like, oh, we didn't follow it up though, because we lost to Olympiacos over 2 legs. So for the players, I think they'll know that there's so much riding on it, not just in terms of getting through, but there's so much that comes with it. They've been on such an incredible journey this season that they wouldn't want to, I don't want to say let it peter out, because that wouldn't be the case if we get Champions League, but they know that they're absolutely capable of doing both, to the point where if they don't achieve one, it will feel a little bit like, but we could have done the other. So yeah, that's a professional kind of mindset as well, right? As fans, we'll probably be thinking similar, but at the end of the day, we're not going to be thinking anything bad about the players or whatever, that we should have done more, because that would be probably greedy. But the players, they're fully capable of doing it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's, how far we've come even just in 12 months. A win against Brighton last year to secure the Conference League qualification. A win against Brighton this year could secure Champions League qualification. We've already secured Europa League qualification. So, this season is already obviously going to be better than last, whatever happens in the Conference League. And if we do turn it around next Thursday, it'll be spoken about for years as a comeback of look what we did there. And you would think, and again, this is me I've said this before, getting to the final is the difficult bit. I think if you get there, you kind of just give everything and we'll know how to get the job done. If we were to get to the final, having overcome this semi-final issue, then I would absolutely back us to bring the trophy home. And you go, Lille penalties, the Olympiacos comeback, what a ride that tournament was. Sure. Just before we move on to Brighton, let's just have another quick word on the medical emergency that happened last night at Villa Park. We spoke about it on the post-match, but it was very kind of up in the air of, I don't really want to talk about it too much because we didn't know who it was, how they were, whether they were okay or not, what the situation was and how it unfolded, but we kind of passed on our best wishes to whoever it was and their family, and kind of applauded the medical staff and the emergency services and whatever else. We also gave a kind of a shout out to people to learn CPR. It's very, very important, and somebody has saved a life there last night because of it, and I'll get you to discuss that in a sec. I've had a couple of DMs saying like, thank you for saying it on the show last night. Somebody messaged me on Instagram not long ago that they were a cardiac arrest survivor as well, and to hear it spoken about and kind of encourage people to go and learn CPR, it is good to see. Last night we just said it. There was a link in the description of this episode from the British Heart Foundation where they've got kind of a course on an app that you can do. It's 15 minutes and you can learn the essential techniques to help save a life. Now, since last night, we know a little bit more about who it was and who helped them. Do you just want to give a bit of a rounded update on not what happened to them, but what's happened since?
Yeah. So I think it was, I don't know, possibly close to midnight. Obviously, the Villa fans all wanted to know more about the situation, if the young lad was okay, and who was the girl who basically saved his life, because there was photos going around of her like kind of leaving the incident after giving life-saving CPR. So it's incredible, and it really does put it all into perspective. And that second half was difficult because of what you were seeing in the whole end, like really kind of disturbing scenes. 24-year-old Josh, I believe his name is, his dad said on Twitter last night, I think, that his son was, like receptive in hospital. He was doing okay. after suffering a cardiac arrest. So that was obviously a massive relief for a start. And I think he sent a message as well on Twitter, his dad saying that he was moaning about the result as well. So, yeah, huge, well done. I mean, I struggle to kind of put it into words, saying well done. I mean, I really should be saying more, but how can you?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's remarkable, heroic actions from, is it Heidi Elliott? I think Heidi. Heidi, yeah. Elliott, and she is a trainee paramedic, I believe, from Leicester, season ticket holder, 4 or 5 rows behind Josh, who she spotted had collapsed. Obviously, his family and the surrounding supporters were calling for paramedics and help, but she spotted obviously something was going on. And she said, this was she spoke to BBC WM. If anyone wants to catch that up, I think it was at about 11 a.m. this morning. Quotes are on Birmingham Live if you wanted to see what she says as well. But she says a lot about how important, as you say, Dan, kind of reiterate what you mentioned there about learning CPR, just the basics of it. That can be enough to save someone's life, and it showed on Thursday night. So yeah, it's what could have been a really kind of desperate situation was thanks to Heidi and say heroic efforts, quick actions, all of that. Probably saved his life, and just kind of remarkable, really. So yeah, full credit to her. As I say, she spoke a lot about the situation and why it's so important, but also she mentioned something along the lines of she was quite like alarmed that no one sort of, I guess in the area, I think she mentioned that people were asking to put him in the recovery position, but actually he had a cardiac arrest. Like there's no pulse. I don't think he was breathing. All those sorts of things. So very desperate situation. Luckily, she was on hand to probably save his life. So it's remarkable. And Josh and his dad, I think there's a selfie going around of him in the hospital, which again is good to see that he's hopefully making a full and a strong recovery from it. But yeah, as you say, Dan, it's puts it into perspective to the football, and just so happy to see that it's a good situation in the end.
Yeah, as I say, there will be more information in the podcast description down below on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. If you want to get involved, I hope that even if one person who went to Villa Park last night now thinks I need to go and learn CPR just in case I'm in that scenario where I am the one who has to go and help somebody, because how many people at that stadium last night would be sat around that situation going, I don't really know what to do here. Like I would help.
I would tell you honest, I'd be in exactly the same position, because I don't know, and I will be learning it now after that, because obviously I wasn't in the vicinity, but it's traumatic even just to see from afar of what was going on, and you're not knowing, and for anyone around them, it must have been traumatic for them. So I hope they're okay as well. It's not a situation that affects a few people. Hopefully a lot of good comes from it, if that makes sense, and that people can, kind of raises awareness about it. But the most important thing is that Josh makes his full recovery, and it's good to see that he's smiling on his selfie with his dad.
Yeah, moaning about the result is a nice kind of indication that he's kind of all with it. He's understanding. He's here, kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, nice to see. You know what I mean? Not nice, but yeah, pretty heavy. All of that, and understandably so, it was last night as well. But we have a platform here. We need to make the most of it. So as you say, it kind of puts football into perspective. So let's stop moaning about Olympiacos now. Let's talk about Brighton a little bit.
I was just going to quickly mention as well that I know a lot of people have been saying it, but obviously the club now need to do something for Heidi. I don't know what that would be. I think some people have said she saved a life, give her a lifetime ticket, whatever it may be. Like, how do you reward that? I have no idea. Like, it's beyond me. I don't know, but whatever it may be, I hope the club. I don't even know. At the end of the season, when they do the awards, maybe she can go there as a guest and.
I would like to see if Josh doesn't. Would you say it was Josh? Sorry,
Josh. Yeah,
Josh. If Josh is fit and well and kind of back to normal life ASAP, I don't know what the recovery process is here, so forgive me if I'm being ignorant. This is a long-term thing, but if he's fit and well and available, kind of thing, I would love to see them on the pitch for the Liverpool game. Maybe a bit of a round of applause for everybody, for the medical staff. Like, this woman saved this guy's life, and that deserves loads of praise, obviously, and us just talking about it on a podcast is obviously not going to be enough. So all right, let's move on. Let's talk about Brighton then. We've done 20 minutes on a Brighton preview and not really spoken about it. We've got all our press injury update, whatever. I'm not going to go through it in massive specifics. It's a Premier League Productions one, as most people will know by now. That's a kind of a closed shop. It's the Premier League will go film a few questions, then go off again. You weren't there. None of the written journalists were there. So not massive amounts to report on. It's the injuries that I'm interested in, and there's a couple of comments that have been asking about Martinez and Tielemans. Somebody asked me to do it in an Australian accent. I don't know why that is, because neither of them are. I always thought about attempting them. I'm not gonna. So John, what's the update on those two? Will they be playing on Sunday?
I'm not doing it either. So
Mate.
Emery's
Emery's
update is I think he's been quite cautious with it. Firstly, he was asked about what is the situation. You've obviously got a few players out close to returning, but will they return? And his answer was, we have training tomorrow. Today is too early to know. We will see after tomorrow. So basically not ruling anyone out, but not ruling anyone in. I think I definitely haven't put that on an article before. And then he was asked specifically about Martinez. I think Pete Colley was the reporter asking the question. So thank God he asked. It gives us the kind of line that we all wanted, which was that basically he will travel with the team if, and it's a big if he comes through the training session feeling comfortable and there's no risk. That was the key thing as well. I know some fans have said, if Chelsea were to beat Tottenham, then Martinez will play even if he's, I say 90% fit, shall I say. Whereas Emery kind of made it clear that he doesn't want to take any risks, even if it's a game that could secure Villa's top 4 status, because, I mean, to be fair, we could get knocked out against Olympiacos, who've got such an uphill task now. So I don't think it's a case of our season kind of ends after the weekend and Martinez will be risked or whatever. That's not going to happen. He will play if he's comfortable, and that is it. So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll be there at the Amex waiting for his arrival before the team news. So if he's not spotted in a hotel or anything before the match, that will probably be the first place to see it. So
you're going down tomorrow?
Okay.
Saturday.
No. I mean, if he's spotted in a hotel, I don't know, if Villa fans see him in a hotel, because I presume they're going to be staying the night around Brighton. So yeah, we'll find out on Sunday morning if not. But yeah, same for Tielemans really. If they are comfortable, Moreno, yeah, it's nice to kind of having these players back now before the end of the season. But it just feels like, we could get 2 or 3 more the next game. You don't know how it's going to go these days because of how many games we've played. But having Martinez back would be a massive boost. I can't lie. It's we're a different team without him, and this isn't a slight on Robin Olsen. We all know that Robin Olsen is not the same goalkeeper as Emi Martinez, but few are, and we've said this before. Any team would struggle without Martinez, especially us who have relied on him for so long. And I think he probably, I don't know, even 2 goals he might have prevented yesterday, because he tends to save one-on-ones, doesn't he? So maybe one of the 2 that El Kaabi came up against Olsen, he might have saved, and the deflected shot he might have saved too. So yeah, just having him back, he does things that you don't probably realise, I think, during matches, that he saved us so many times and how he uses the ball too. So yeah, he's a vital component of the team, obviously.
Yeah, if he's back, then that'll give Villa a massive chance of winning the game. If he's not, I still back us to win because I want us to win and I'll support whoever is playing. But every game is much more difficult without Emi Martinez. That's bloody obvious to say, but it's just how it is. Pau Torres rested last night against Olympiacos, which many have kind of questioned, which is understandably so because we've lost. If we win last night, people are going, yeah, fair enough. We plays against Brighton, whatever.
Yeah.
What did you make of that? I know we're kind of going back into Olympiacos here.
Yeah, well, I asked Emery after the game, was there a specific reason? Is he carrying something? I don't know if Emery would have been more open if Villa had won the game, and he might have revealed that he was carrying something or his fitness is whatever. But he went down the route of, we have a squad, not a very big squad to be fair, but different players need to play as well. Like, we didn't lose the game because Torres didn't play or because Kessler didn't play, or basically saying that he trusts his team, whoever plays, Villa can get the result sort of thing. But, Torres is one of our most important players in build-up especially. And, yes, I think we were 15 yards further back because we had Olsen. And again, that's because Martinez isn't there, not because of Olsen. but Torres as well. We dominate in the opponent's half for most of the game when Torres is playing. We rarely lose matches with Torres in the team. And, Longley, yes, he made a mistake, but he also, that ball that he played over to Bailey for Diaby's goal at the near post, that's straight away, Emery put his thumbs up, because that is something that I think we'd expect from Torres, those long diagonals across the pitch, kind of made for Torres that game, I think. But yeah, whatever reason he was on the bench, Emery said it was just to rotate, but you'd have thought there's a minor issue, or maybe just he felt something called fatigue or whatever it may be, because he would have been starting otherwise, surely.
It puts some maybes, isn't it? So let's move on. What did you make of Brighton? Because last year they were kind of the media darlings, weren't they, of attractive football and good transfer business and whatever else, and overachieved for their expectations to qualify for the Europa League, deservedly so. But no one would have had them to finish in the top 6 at the start of the season. This year, not quite been the same. Losing players in the summer will not have helped that. Obviously, De Zerbi seems to not be flavour of the month anymore, which is interesting. I think their goal of the month competition for April will only be an own goal from the Burnley goalkeeper. I think it's Burnley anyway. They didn't score in April, which tells me they'll probably score against Villa, because that's usually what happens. But they've definitely gone off the boil from what they were last year, and they're not the team to be feared that they were 12 months ago, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, and their recent their recent general form has been very poor. They haven't won in 6. I think it's 6. And as you say, Dan, they don't score many goals. I looked at their team that they played against Bournemouth, and I didn't know a couple of players. And to be fair, that's usually a frightening thing when you're coming up against Brighton, because they'll be stars next year. But they were younger players, and I think Welbeck came off the bench, for example, but they started a youngster up front who had he probably didn't do much in the game. So it's a game where Villa are going to...
Don't say favourites. We've been here before.
Put it this way, if Villa don't win the match, again, it depends on context, but I think it will feel like an opportunity wasted. I'll be totally honest. That may seem harsh because we've done so well, and I'm not going to be overly critical if we don't win. But yeah, Brighton...
It would only be seen as that to me if Spurs also lost. If Spurs were to get something and we lose at Brighton, I know it's away, but I would consider this to be our easiest game of the 3.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Like Palace are in really good form at the moment, and I don't think they'll be on the beach as such on the final day. They'll try and beat us. Liverpool are a very good team, and that kind of leaves Brighton as a team, out of form. Villa have got a great record against them, so it's set up, for Villa to go there and try and get a victory, but these things don't happen, and we have to earn the right to win, of course. So it'll be a tricky game still. Brighton had only lost 1 league game before losing to Man City and Arsenal in their last... This is home form, by the way. It's 1 home loss in the league before Man City and Arsenal. So they don't lose many games at home, but considering their form, it feels like, as I say, it's an opportunity that if Villa can get the first goal, you'd like to think that they could see the game in from there. So hopefully most of our players, all of our players, are kind of making it through the Thursday game. Because Emery did say as well in the injury update that obviously, you'll have to wait and see on the rest of the players who actually played tomorrow as well, because there's fatigue. Bailey's been strapped up for the last few weeks, although you wouldn't know it by the way he's playing. So it's a game where Villa will be hoping to win, but as I say, you've got to do the job at the end of the day. But it will feel like a massive opportunity going into the match, or it does, because we know we'd be piling on pressure to Spurs to then they'd have to beat Liverpool. And even then, as I say, they haven't gained ground by beating Liverpool. How kind of anticlimactic is that? So, exactly. It's we were saying before, when we're down, like the amount of times where we're playing before them, that is a massive advantage for us. So we need to make full use of it, and hopefully we can get a victory that, as you say, should go a long way to getting us top 4 then.
Yeah, and we've spoken before about, they've got games in hand. Should be fearful of that, but they're losing games. They just keep losing. If Spurs aren't going to do their own job, it doesn't matter what we're doing, really. My kind of bold prediction, and we'll get to the actual score lines and stuff in a sec. I'm not saying we're not going to get another point for the rest of the season and we'll finish on 67, because I don't believe that. I think we'll finish on 70. But I don't think we'll need another point to finish 4th. I don't think Spurs will even get to 67. I think they'll win Burnley and Sheffield United and lose the rest. I think they'll finish on 66.
Well, losing to City at home and losing to Liverpool away isn't...
That's not a bold prediction, is it?
No. It's not. I mean, if we get 1 point against Brighton, so if we draw the match, then then Tottenham will need. So before the final day, they'd have to beat one of City and. So I'm just trying to do the maths on my head. They would get to. If they beat Burnley and then took a point against City or Liverpool, that puts them on 64, right? We would be on 68 if we get a point against Brighton. Pretend that we lost the Liverpool game. I don't think we will, but that'll be enough then before even the final day. And that's been my key all along. As long as it doesn't go to the final day, fantastic, because you don't want the pressure, you don't want the stress, you don't want the visions of Mateta going in on goal and Eze doing his thing. Do you know what I mean?
No, let's not go there.
Exactly. So I think we're in such a good position now to kind of prevent all of that happening, shall I say? That even a point could be enough. Sorry, but a win would all but confirm it, if not on the night. So it's such a good position to be in, but it's just that other side of you that thinks, but we could have done both, or we still can do both. But we've got such a thing to do now in Greece. It just makes it a bit more like, let's just wait till Thursday. I don't know. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Our best way of
hangover from that defeat, because we've got to do it again next week. We can't move on.
But our best way of doing both is winning against Brighton first, because then the Premier League's put to bed. Then you can think, well, the Liverpool and Palace games effectively don't matter. Or possibly won't matter. I mean, Spurs put some run of form together for it to matter, with us being on 70. That you can go, right, Premier League's kind of done now. We can put full focus into Thursday. If we were to lose against Brighton, I don't think you can put that much effort into the second leg then, because then you think we've probably got to beat Liverpool now. So
I know what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean? Like, just beat Brighton first, and then that sets you up to possibly get through Olympiacos as well.
Yeah, God, if we were to beat Brighton and get through against Olympiacos, could you imagine the scenes and the flares before that Liverpool game? They need to sort that out somehow in terms of how it's organised. It's fantastic, but dangerous as well. I was just like sandwiched between different people. I can kind of wriggle away because if you meet me, you'll realise I'm only 4'5" apparently. So I can get away.
Somebody say that?
No. I'm sure that's what they think. So I can wriggle away easily, but I'm sure the people are getting crushed against trees and stuff. I don't know, but it's mad spectacle though. Like, especially for the game on Thursday night, the flares, the noise. It was fantastic. So that's the kind of the dream scenario. If we can beat Brighton, fantastic. That's top four basically done. Going into Olympiacos, let's just see what happens. Almost, I don't want to say like a free hit, but if we were to get knocked out. Again, depending on the context, but it almost feels like, well, kind of expected it because we didn't show up in the first leg, so we can just move on. It kind of time is a healer sort of thing. And in that Liverpool game, it'll be a huge celebration anyway, wouldn't it? Because even if we were to get only one of top four or Conference League, it would be the top four if we win against Brighton for sure. That Liverpool game will be something special anyway, just to celebrate. Final home game of what has been a remarkable season. But if we could do something special in Athens, then season goes down in like folklore.
I think it does anyway, to be honest. It's just, I think right now there's a little bit of tinge of disappointment maybe of what might have been, but if we finish in the Champions League positions, all that will be forgotten about next year. And I know there's still a lot of debate about Champions League or Conference League. Everyone's kind of like, forget Brighton, go all in for Thursday, and a trophy is more important. Some people again expecting that even if we lost to Brighton, I still think we'll finish in the top four. So give everything for Olympiacos, which I would rather just get the job done against Brighton this weekend and then focus on Olympiacos afterwards. But I've said all along, if you were to win the trophy this year and not finish fourth, I think that's a worse season for the club and the way football is with money and stuff now. I think the top four is more important long term. And if we are in the top four this year and hopefully in the years to come, this Conference League journey that we've been on, we'll have opportunities like this again to win trophies, domestic trophies. We will go further in the FA Cup and the League Cup because we'll have a better squad to do it. We'll have a better ability of player to go further in these competitions. So this Conference League isn't a one-time thing for us it's now or never. But the Champions League feels a little bit more like that if we didn't do it this year, like when are we going to do it? Like we've been there all this season. To drop out of it
you
now.
You have to cash in as such when you can, and people will be screaming down their phones right now saying, but look at Tottenham, they've been in this situation for so long and they haven't won anything.
We haven't though, have we? Like, you've got to
that's Tottenham as well. We've also been in finals when we've been horrifically poor, and I know we haven't won them in the last decade or whatever, but we've been to Wembley most years. We've been absent for a couple of years, and that feels like major. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Dan. In terms of we need to improve the squad. That's the key thing for over the summer. This isn't talking about Brighton anymore, but we need to bulk out the squad, and we said it in the podcast on Monday that do we need to spend on a couple of players worth 60 million, or would I rather spend 70 whatever million on players to just beef out the team? Because that's what we need. This group of players have shown that they're capable of being the fourth best team, beating the best team in the world, whatever. It just needs a bit more to it, a bit more around the edges, shall I say, more options. So when we are fatigued and when we are out of form, players will go in and out of form throughout the season. We can then rely on someone else to come in. And again, good talent ID, Morgan Rogers, Monchi, all these things put us in a really strong position. So yeah, I don't know. Let's just see what happens on Sunday, and then just hit Thursday full on. What will be, and don't leave anything behind, sort of thing. If we can get an early goal, the game's there for us to win, let alone take it to extra time. So yeah, it's exciting still. It's just a tinge of disappointment, but as we said at the top of the show, you can't be frustrated at these players for long.
It's half time. We're 2-0 down at half time.
Yeah,
you got four. Obviously it's 90 minutes, but if you're 2-0 down in a normal game, you think, well, we got 45 minutes plus added time to get back into this. It's 2 goals deficit.
Exactly.
And 2 goals only gets you a point in the Premier League. 2 goals here takes you to extra time and the lottery of penalties potentially. So it's by no means done. If we lost 4-0, different matter, of course. You got to go there and win at least 4-0. To win 2-0 away, a clean sheet will be nice at the moment, but to score, like somebody said there, score first. Tommy says we have to score first. Agreed. If we score first in the first 15 minutes, I back us to win. And the momentum, I just don't want to come out onto the podcast this time next week and for the post-match show and all the fallout to be afterwards that we didn't turn up, we didn't give it enough, what a missed opportunity, what a disappointment. You go out there and if you lose 3-2, but you give it a right good go and you're just unlucky with a penalty or something, then the boys did everything to get there and just fell short. You don't want any regrets after that. But I think to get in that position first of all, beat Brighton, get yourself to the Champions League and then go, right, Premier League season is over, it's done with now, everything for Thursday. And if we mess it up, we gave it everything.
Yeah, for sure. And just on that as well, Olympiacos have conceded 2 or more goals in 8 of their home games this season. So
that's what I like to hear. I like it. You've also got a little stat on the sleeve, haven't you?
Yeah. Everyone knows about Tel Aviv as well. The 4-1 loss there, obviously won 6-1 away from home as well, Olympiacos. But yeah, they're there to be got at. The only thing that does concern me is they do score goals still. And
we leak them.
That's obviously a problem. But take out the issues and mistakes that we made against Olympiacos in that game and put Martinez in goal, we might have only conceded once. Do you know what I mean? It's those are the fine margins, genuinely. So, yeah, there's no negativity going into the game. I don't think there will be. It'll just be us knowing, all right, we've got something to do here, but we can absolutely do it. And you say, Dan, if we aren't to do it, then I don't think there'll be a huge hangover from it. It will be, okay, well, what did we do against Brighton? We're Spurs. We have Liverpool next. Welcome the players, clap them off the pitch afterwards. Remarkable season, yada, yada, yada. 5 more years of Emery, maybe 10, 12, who knows?
All right, let's rattle through a predicted 11 then. Let's go on the basis.
I thought we were done, sorry. I thought that
no, we've still got predictions to do as well. Let's rattle through it. There's not much difference you can go with. I think Martinez will be fit and will play. Pau Torres will come back in and play. I'm pretty certain. Does Cash still get it, or are you going Conser right back and does Carlos come back in as well?
It's a good question.
I
don't know. Great answer. I think, I probably would take Cash out. Knox has had I don't think he's, been his best level, but I don't think he's been his worst either. Yes, he should have bumped up, as I said earlier, to catch El Kaabi offside. But then again, it was his run forward that resulted in Watkins' goal. So, you need to kind of look at it both ways. But against Brighton, I would probably start Conser, just a bit more defensive security. Again, this is a game that Villa, if they can't win it, then don't lose it. It has that feeling to it. You don't want to give Tottenham kind of a leg up going to Liverpool and thinking, Villa have lost. That's unusual. Villa don't usually lose games. We can get something, can actually gain a point or points on them now. Whereas if we draw, as I say, Tottenham is still going to have to do something quite extraordinary to get into the top 4 still. So, yeah, I would probably start Conser right back, bring in Carlos Torres is hopefully going to be starting, yeah. And Luca Dean, I presume, would stay at left back as Moreno kind of touch and go.
Mm. Did you do the rest of the midfield then? I got distracted by Rob Warner in the comments asking, are we all right? Yes, all right, Rob. Yeah, very well. Defence then?
I only did the defence, yeah.
Okay. Midfield and forwards, please.
I think it picks itself, really. Without Tielemans, presumably Diaby keeps that role next to Watkins, Rodgers, left, Bailey right, McGinn, and Louise. Until Tielemans comes back, it's difficult. I don't think Zaniolo would start. I don't think he was ready to play, to be honest, against Dave, feeling uncomfortable, and now he felt better. So yeah, he's not kind of ready to start, and I don't think I would start him anyway. Happy with the forward options that we have. We're going to make chances. We've made loads of chances against Olympiacos. We should have probably taken more. So I'm happy with where we are. If we play well against Brighton, we probably win the game. So yeah, we just got to treat them right, though, if that makes sense. We can't be looking at them thinking, 6 losses on the bounce or whatever. As I say, they've only lost 3 home games this season in the league and went on a crazy run without losing until they played Arsenal and City. So we have to treat them with respect. And if we do, I think we'll get the job done.
Yeah, agreed. Let's finish then with a score prediction. The predictions league is as it was. I said 4-0 against Chelsea. You said 3-1. It was 2-2. So we both picked 4 goals, just not necessarily in the right order. So I'm on 25 points. You're on 26. It's a point for the correct outcome, 3 points for a correct scoreline. I could really do with getting this bang on this week to take a lead again with 2 games to go. If you're going to peak like this for league, it's right at the end, isn't it, John? You want to go on top at the end rather than be all the way through. I'll go first because I always let you go first. I feel like your pick influences mine, and it's throwing me off. So I'm going to go with Martinez playing, so that helps us defensively, but not enough for a clean sheet. 3-1 Villa. I think we'll score plenty of goals. Watkins will finally hit 20 as well. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, that needs to happen. I'll say 2-1 Villa. It's a bit tighter, but I think we'll be okay in the game. I think we'll control large parts of it. It's about reducing their chances on goal. As you say, they haven't conceded many goals recently, but so they haven't scored many goals. Did I say conceded? They haven't scored many goals, but we know what they were like last season. It's still, yes, they've got a few injuries, but it's still the same manager, the same philosophy, the same way that they build up, etc. So yeah, they'll still be a threat, I think. But I think Villa will be all right. I'll say 2-1.
Okay, right. Let's call it a day there then. John, thank you for joining me as always. Thanks everyone for watching along live on YouTube and all your comments. It's difficult to flash them up on screen these days because there's so many, but I do try and weave some of the points that people are making into conversation somewhere. I think we've answered pretty much everything that people are asking about in terms of injuries and selection choices and whatnot. All to play for one more win should be enough for a top 4 finish. Here we are. This is it now. All eyes on Villa. First of all, do our job. Obviously, if we don't, are we absolutely gutted? And then if Spurs
all eyes on the Championship final day, really. Tomorrow first.
Oh, all Norwich, aren't we? All Norwich. Come on, Norwich.
Nearly finished the podcast.
I saw some stuff. To be fair, I saw some bits in on Thursday about Olympiacos, and there was a quote, a tweet, from a Blues fan, said something like, "Never been this nervous for an Olympiacos game in my entire life since I started supporting them this morning." And some people are like, "Oh, why do you care?" Do we all not want Norwich to win on the weekend? Like, you got to have a bit of both, haven't you? Like, of course, all of the Midlands rivals were supporting Olympiacos, and we'll be buzzing with the fact that we lost last night. So, if Norwich beat Blues, you're telling me Villa fans are going to go, "Oh, boo-hoo, Blues got relegated. I want the derby back." Oh, forget them. Come on, Norwich. Let's get that out of the way. Right, that's it, John. Thanks for reminding me about that. I totally forgot. All eyes on Norwich first, then all eyes on Villa, then on to Spurs, and then all eyes on Olympiacos next week. Eyes everywhere. Right, John, cheers for that. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll catch up if you're a Spotify user or Apple Podcast user. We appreciate everyone's tuning into the Can't Read podcast at the back end of the season. Our numbers are doing great, so we're glad to see so many people enjoying the show. We'll be back for the post-match show on Sunday afternoon. I think there will be a more Villa voice notes from Kendrick, possibly tomorrow morning. So plenty of little bits and pieces to listen to. And we'll see you Sunday evening. Cheers, John. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.